Okay.
What is up, fellow bench warmers? Welcome to your daily fantasy quickie. Hey guys, what's up? JJT here with Commish Eric. Welcome to another quickie. It's a 4-game slate today. Very not much to talk about, I guess, but we might kick things off with some worry players. Paul George played today, and how can you assess? Maybe it's a slow start.
Yeah, maybe it's a slow start, but there's been no Kawhi basically for the season. I think you could say that he's played 40 total minutes for the season.
3 games, 4 games? 4 games.
Regardless, how many games have they played? 4 or 5 games?
Yeah,
4 games or whatever. Paul George is still not done much without Kawhi. And of course, if Kawhi comes back, I would expect a little bit of usage dip. So that's concerning. But yeah, maybe you're right. I think Paul George did play late in the season last year also.
Yep.
So maybe it's rust also. Plus he got sick, coming off sickness. So maybe
it's a slow start. We might, it's still early. Week 2, they played 4 games. He missed 1 game, pretty much just 3 games played.
The thing is the shooting is what's worrying for me. The elbow is supposedly fixed. So I do think he's not going to shoot 26% from 3 or 42% from the field. That's basically what he's shooting right now, and that's worse than last season, or almost the same as last season. So if the shooting improves a little bit, I think he can get back to 23, 24 points, then it will be better. The numbers will look better. So I think there's a slimmer of buy low opportunity here for Paul George.
In fairness, the Clippers are not good. They are not good yet. I mean, they've been favorites this season, coming into this season.
Yes.
Other than maybe Zubac and John Wall, the rest of the guys, nothing really fantasy. Nothing will excite you from the fantasy perspective. I think the only 2 guys have been, playing well. Speaking quickly of Kawhi, what do you do with Kawhi? I mean, played 40 total minutes. Do you just stick with it? Do you just sell him, make him part of a package, just sell low? How do you deal with Kawhi?
Do
you have Kawhi?
No, I didn't have Kawhi. I didn't have Kyrie. I didn't have Kawhi. I did gamble on some comebacking players like Zion. That was the only. I was just going crazy with Zion. I was experimenting in the invitationals, but that's the craziest pick I probably had. MPJ, I have a lot of MPJs, but I picked him around the 70s or the 80s, so he was falling.
100, right? Even 100.
He was falling, so I said, okay, what the hell, try it. But I don't have Kawhi, and my answer to that question is, you picked him. I don't know what you expected. But if you expected a slow start, you expected some load management to start and everything, so then you should not panic. But if you are panicking already, what you said is probably what I'll do. I'll try to package him with somebody else and then trade him, but not now. You cannot trade him. His value is super down because of the uncertainty. So you have to wait for him to play, and then he's steady playing already. Then you can try to package. That's what you can do.
Not many players were really worried today from today's game, I guess. Sabonis is one who's not, he's okay. He's not bad. He's not Kawhi bad or Paul George. He's so. The scoring isn't there, but at least there's a bit of rebounding. There's some assists there. I don't think we expected stocks from Sabonis, but
that's true.
It's not second round value, right? If you're looking at, he's usually clumped there with Siakam, and Siakam's way better than what he's been doing. Maybe Bam is close to that. If you're looking for center in the second round, Bam is there, right there. Um, yeah, both are struggling. Although Bam played well today, but they're not to that second round level.
Yeah. The thing is, Sabonis
It's
is
been a
shooting
while
30.
since Sabonis produced great numbers. I couldn't even remember him. I think
The,
it
the,
was
the,
Indiana days.
the worry, no, he was okay. He was okay last year when he transferred to Sacramento. He was fine. This year, for some reason, the usage is not there. Today, he's 17%. I think that's the one I'm worried about. 17 today, 24. The other day, 20, 20, 24, 17. That has been his usage rate. That's very low. For context, Cade had 36 the other day when Jaden Ivey didn't play. So it has to be around the 28, 29 mark for him to really, because as you said, he's not gonna get stocks. You
Yeah,
want mini Jokic in a sense with Sabonis, right? Like
yeah.
get 25 points, you get 12 rebounds, 7 assists or something like that. And if he's shooting 13 points only, is scoring 13 points only, and then 5 6 assists. That's not second round. That's not, I don't know what round that is, but it's not the one we're expecting when we picked him for
Uh,
sure.
yeah, definitely. I mean, close to 8 rebounds, 9 rebounds, maybe. That's what you're gonna
Nine
be.
point eight this year, but his so far the past 5 years has been 12 rebounds. So that's also down. The
Yeah,
minutes are down. That's a problem because 30 minutes is too low. I want him to be at 35, 36. I don't know what Mike Brown thinks of him. Mike Brown is kind of worried about his defense. Mike Brown is a defensive coach, and so far Sabonis is being exposed. That's true. So that worries me. So if you own Sabonis, I'm really worried in the sense that it's a new coach.
new
It
system.
doesn't mean it fits him and his game, right? So let's see. Let's see.
Plus, the Aaron Fox is getting pretty much a lot of the usage. He's been playing really well. Um,
Yes.
so I think
Yeah.
that's where the Sabonis issue or factor comes in. So not a lot of worry players. Brandon Clark. Let's talk quickly about Brandon Clark because he played another good game, although it was
Mhm.
kind of a lopsided, uh, you know, game. It wasn't really as close. But Brandon Clark, people dropped him in a lot of leagues. I think he should be picked up at this point. I think it's pick up and see where that goes at this
Hello.
point. I think
That's not.
that's where his value is slowly move up. I'm not sure if Santi would be a big concern, but like I said, he's 6 man ever since.
Um, is Santi a concern for Brandon Clark, or is
Yeah,
Santi a concern now?
is he a concern for Brandon Clark, or
Um,
because Brandon Clark's been dropped and right now he's playing well. So
I'd
do
pick
you?
him up. I'd pick him up now. I'd pick him up now and see where it goes. Actually, I'm more worried for Santi. On the other hand, because after that first game, the great first game, he has kind of
Tapered
fallen
down,
off. And
tapered
yes,
off. Yeah,
and today, if not for as I wrote, the 2 steals, 2 blocks today came late in the fourth when it was really garbage time or the game was all over. Before that, he was 2 rebounds, 2 points, something like that, and wasn't playing well. Wasn't playing well. So yeah, I don't think Santi's starting position is in trouble. I think that's gonna be his. But Brandon Clark, as you said, speaking of Clark, he's been a sixth man ever since. He knows the
yeah.
role. He needs 20, 22 minutes, 23 minutes. He's gonna be fine. Although because it's a bench role, there will be times where he'll not produce as much, but there will be times where he'll be solid. So overall, average out just so. Not the Brandon Clark we picked still, but something worth rostering. But Santi though, Aldama, that maybe not as high as we thought he could be. For another reason also, the Grizzlies, the way they play like I don't know Milo Best, if the people know that in abroad, like five, like platoon substitution, super deep rotation.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. They have Roddy, Laravia, all those. They play them. They play all of them. So that's not good. in gaining value.
Yeah. Plus, I think the thing that affects Santi is also the Ja Morant, Desmond Bain. They're eating up a lot of the usage in the first unit. Um, they've been
Yeah,
scoring really well. I mean, today Bain had what, 31, 32 points, I think, although Ja didn't play as well. But I think that factors in. I mean, the good thing about Santi is that you probably just pick him off the waivers or maybe your last two picks. So it's not going to be as painful to maybe drop him later on in case he really falters or does not produce anymore. The worry with Brandon Clark, for example, or even with players like Kawhi, who you probably pick fourth round and then he'll play 20 minutes, right? You pick those guys a little higher. I mean, Brandon Clark early on in the drafts was picked what, eighth, ninth round, a little higher than usual. Then he fell off when Santi was gaining ground. Um, so that's when you get a little more value from Brandon Clark. So you get more patience with him because you just pick him last round or even picked him off the waivers. But I picked a lot of Brandon Clark. Um, in fact, I picked him over. I don't know if it's the right call, but I picked him over Norm, hoping that because I ran out of moves in 1D. Um, I picked him over Norm because there's a 3 day break, I think, or 2 day break for the Clippers.
yeah.
Um, so
You
there.
picked him up in the draft, in the waiver
Yeah, in the
wires.
waiver wire, because I had one more move, and Norm was available. Um, Brandon Clark was available, but because I only had one move left, I wanted to pick them both up, but I had to choose one, and hopefully no one picks Norm. But I doubt
Well,
someone would.
Norm played well today.
Yeah,
Yeah, he finally woke up from the dead, as I wrote. He finally was the Norm that we knew. Just for a preview of week 3, the Clippers have a very, very good schedule. I wrote it down here. They have Houston, San Antonio, Utah next week. So, well, I'm not saying JJT is wrong because that's correct. If you have 3 game break, you have to win this week. Just
yeah,
saying, if you don't need to drop him, maybe wait for this week because those 4 games are very, very good games for Norm. And we know Norm is very matchup based and he's very streaky. So maybe this is the start of a stretch of good games from Norm Powell. So just segueing to Norm a little bit. But I
yeah.
think you did the right thing. I think
Yeah, I
I'll do
just
the
wanted
same.
to win this week and see how that goes. Anyway, the last one I want to talk about, or we would talk about, is a feel-good player. Um, Luka,
Luka. Let's talk about Luka.
triple
Yeah.
double, currently shooting 86% from the free throw line. Is this it?
Um,
Is this really it for Luka? Is this the time for Luka? Is this the breakout that we're looking for?
I think so. I think there's I wouldn't say this is sustainable. The 86% I think is high, but I think it will be if it's just 80%, that's still good. That's still solid already given the scouting
Yeah,
stats and everything. So yeah, I think this is a breakout that we all are hoping for. Dallas is a contender. You have to look at context also. Dallas is contending. They have a very solid team. Their defense is number 1 in the league. I said this a lot of times. Their defense is solid. They're number 1. They're a good defensive team, and he doesn't have anybody else around him.
yeah. This reminds me
Like,
of last year's Jokic.
yes, exactly the same thing. But the difference is they have a better defense. They have a
Mhm.
better defense. So yeah, as if Jokic was playoff team Denver, but not enough, not enough help maybe defensively just so. But this Dallas team, he has the right players around him. I
Yeah.
mean, Dinwiddie, the second ball handler, could shoot. They have Wood off the bench, McGee just lobbing and everything, and then they
and
have
and players and
shooters.
players and
They have
players like
shooters.
shooters, and players like Dinwiddie are not pushovers when it comes to playing down the line, close game down the line. These guys can, Dinwiddie in particular can take over some games from time to time if needed. Of course, the fantasy wise, we don't really care about that because all Dinwiddie gives us are points and threes maybe. But the help that he has, it's there. It's Jalen Brunson was a big loss, but I think that also would help Luka get more usage because there's no Jalen Brunson there to back him up. There's no really solid point guard to back him up. So now the question is, do you think he can go number one?
I can say he can. You're asking if he can. You're not saying if he would. You're saying if he can.
Do you
Yes, he
think he
can.
would? Do you think he would?
I know. I don't think he would. I still don't think he would.
You still think Jokic ends up number one?
I think so. I not by a big margin, but I think he would. This is the thing. For someone who's not even top 20 or 30 in Yahoo's rankings, because Yahoo skews the turnovers, 9 category turnovers and everything. To go from there to number one all of a sudden, I'll play the odds, as Jeremy said. Jeremy is Mr. Odds. I'll play the odds. The odds of that happening is kind of low, but I said he can. He can. But I don't think he would. That's the difference. Lower percentage, I think. Not 50-50. I'll go
So you
probably
still
20.
think Jokic ends up number one? I still believe
Still
he
think-
won't end up number one. I just
Ah,
don't know which player would dethrone him or unseat him. There are two main guys that have the possibility of unseating him after the first 2 weeks. There's always a question mark on the free throws, right? The shooting percentages, and maybe in Luka's case, the turnovers. That's just a question mark. But I just still feel that Jokic would not end up number one this year. Kyrie, just quickly, Kyrie, solid today.
yeah. Kyrie has been whoa. I mean, unbelievable. 3 steals, 4 blocks. Of course, that is not that's fluky.
Probably
But
the next time you'll have 4 blocks, probably never again.
who did they play against today? Dallas, right?
Yeah, Dallas.
Well, yeah, that's not an easy opponent, so we can't say that it's totally something he just did out of nowhere. But still, I don't think he's gonna do 4 blocks, not regularly.
Yeah.
But one
But
point,
the scoring
the
is
one,
there, you know.
yeah,
Everything's pretty much there.
The assists are okay. 4.4, not that high. 5.4 rebounds, 1.6 steals. Those are all sustainable. 29 points is sustainable because people are saying Brooklyn is a strong team. It's just KD and Kyrie. Ben Simmons won't even take layups.
He did.
Curry,
He just airballed one.
okay.
In fairness to him, he did.
Okay, at least he tried. But Seth Curry and Joe Harris, they're not ready. Seth Curry is still injured. Joe Harris is just not himself. No other scores. So 30 points, KD and Kyrie might average 30 apiece.
Yeah.
And we know how efficient Kyrie is. He's not even that efficient yet. So there's still upside in Kyrie's numbers. He's 45% field goal. Career he's 47, 48. So there's still growth there in that, the possible upside there in his stats. So the more important thing is, do you think he will continue this? Do you think he'll behave?
Yeah, I think he can. I think the biggest concern for Kyrie and the Brooklyn Nets would be them losing so much. Because them losing so much would mean they might stay out of contention. They might not make the playoffs. They might, barely, miss out on the playoffs. And that it would be lucky if they barely make it, right? If they're really close and they really want to push through that play-in tournament. But that's the worry. If they can't win, then at one point they will load manage these guys. They will probably, sit them out some games. But like I said, even before the season started, if we're talking about all the risky players, the risky picks, Kyrie has the highest risk reward ratio among all of them. And if you drafted really early, like early on in the draft before the preseason started, he was being picked sometimes in the third round, mid third round, late second round, and we saw that as a very good value for someone like
very
that.
good value. And to be fair, Kyrie I think is in contract year. So as we said a lot of times, I don't know, people are saying conjecture, they're just guessing. It's human psychology. You need the money. You need to behave to get the money. You'll behave. for a year. And JJT knows that. He will if his wife
Yeah,
wants him to
yeah.
pay for it, he will pay.
If I need allowance, I'll behave. I'll wash the
Yes. And
dishes. I'll clean the iron the clothes.
talking about the Brooklyn's problems, I don't think they'll be out of contention. They're too good. They have enough. They have enough players to at least be in the play in or the playoffs. So I don't think they'll manage. I think in another, looking at another way, maybe they play them more because they need them. They need them to stay on the floor because of the injury. So maybe they'll have to play them more. And by the way, since we're here with Brooklyn, I just want to talk about the Nick Claxton, Ben Simmons situation. Claxton's minutes from the 34-35 when he was so good the first few games kind of, fell off. And Ben Simmons' minutes went up. So I don't know if they're intentionally not playing both together for long periods of time, but it's possible because, well, if Ben Simmons won't even, or well, JJT said would airball layups, and Claxton doesn't know how to shoot anything but just dunk, that's gonna be very hard for spacing. It's going to be very hard for spacing concerns. So that is something to monitor for Nick Claxton owners this time.
It also could be a matchup thing. I don't know.
Could be. Could
If
be. Yeah, could be.
Dallas is not a big team, and if it's not a big team, they might play Ben Simmons more at the center. If it's a bigger team like Milwaukee, maybe they'll play Claxton more at the center. So maybe they're playing around with that. Although it's going to be a concern if they're going to be alternating that center position because Claxton is one of our sleeper picks, our breakout player. He's had some great games, but we want consistency, right? In fantasy, one or two good games is not enough. We want very consistent production because it's going to be hard to deal with it as fantasy managers. What will you do if today he scores 5, tomorrow he scores 16, right? I mean, you probably don't know whether you drop him or you just stream him or whatever. So hopefully they get to that good rotation.
But that is why I think the Ben Simmons factor. If there's a Jaden Ivey factor with Cade, I think there's a Ben Simmons factor with Claxton. On the other hand, also Claxton factor for Simmons. So something you consider. Simmons is playing better, not the Ben Simmons of before, but still, good enough.
He's
good
okay.
Enough.
He's okay.
It's okay. Yes,
he's okay. I mean, he is better than what you see on social media.
Yes, because they show the things that JJT likes to see. The air balls.
No, I just saw them because that's being shared in social media. But I just feel that he's gonna be in a better situation than maybe Westbrook because both of them are probably the most scrutinized player right now in the NBA. And I think Ben Simmons will end up in a better space, in a better fantasy position than Russell Westbrook because he can contribute a lot more in Brooklyn. He can, rebound, he can pass. The steals are going to be there. It's just the scoring that's really being criticized with Ben Simmons. The scoring has fell off, the aggressiveness has fell off, but the assists, the rebounding can still be there. He's good enough, athletic enough to, be able to produce those types of numbers. And the steals should be good, should be better moving forward. He's not shooting free throws, so you don't have to worry about that.
And I think they said the reason he doesn't want to take those layups because he doesn't want to get fouled and shoot free throws.
Yeah, it could be a mental thing.
Mental thing. It's a mental thing, yes.
But I think it's over magnified than what we want. He's been okay.
Well, we have to have someone to talk about. If not,
I just say, over between the two, Claxton and Simmons, I guess the floor for Simmons is higher than Claxton's. That's the good thing about Ben Simmons. I mean, the floor is higher, the ceiling is higher. So Claxton is just somewhere in the middle. So if there's one person who will be heavily affected in this, it would be Claxton.
Plus the fact that if there's continue to struggle, maybe the Nets make a move. They might make some trades and might get a center in return. So that will be a problem with Claxton because they don't have depth right now.
Why would they do that? If they
don't have. No, I mean Claxton is exactly the fit of Claxton with Ben Simmons is not good. It's not good. Even if they just sign, let's say, DeMarcus Cousins, just let's say DeMarcus Cousins, it won't hurt Claxton as a starter, but still better than Dayron Sharp as the backup center. So
Yeah.
gonna hurt a little.
Or maybe they'll just get someone who can shoot more, shoot better from the outside, and the usual stretch five that would probably fit the the game of Ben Simmons. I don't know. Yeah, but let's see. Let's see what happens here in Brooklyn. But those are some of the players we are worried about, and of course the feel good players, Luka, Kyrie, two of our feel good players for today. Right. Tomorrow is a big slate. So it's going to be exciting for basketball, and it's going to be more exciting because it's a long weekend here in the Philippines, and I'm pretty sure there will be lots of basketball to be watched tomorrow. Anyway, that's it for today's quickie. Guys, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. It's all linked there in the description, and also you can what else? Spotify. You can follow us on Spotify. Everything's linked in our video description. Thanks, guys, for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and have a good weekend. And we'll see you guys again tomorrow. Bye.